So that's an interesting contrast. But he made sure he took care of home and family. Yeah, he'd go out and gamble, spend the money, but they always had food on the table. And maybe for him, hanging out was his recreational activity. I don't know, but he made sure that home and family were taken care of. And I asked her a question. Did he know anything at all about God? No, he didn't attend church, but he used to read the Bible to his mother while she was sick. So he knew something about God. And it's something that, you know what, as much as we try to get away from God, you know, God is that silent person sometimes right next to you when you don't want him to be there. He's there. When you're in your darkest hour, he's there right beside you. You may not see it, you may not feel it, you may not even want to know he's there, but he's there. It's that kind of care that we have to show our fellow man, our fellow woman, our fellow person, such as this. Not being judgmental, not thinking that we know how a person's going to respond, not prejudging people because it's easy to prejudge. And anybody who says that they don't prejudge people, they're not telling the truth, they're not accurate, because we all prejudge. We all prejudge. Yeah, that's human nature. That's how God made us. It's just that you prejudge positively as well as negatively. See somebody dressed in a suit, all that, you make a judgment call. So he wears a suit, so he must have some money, or he likes to dress up. How do you know that that person has never worn a suit a single day in his life, and that's the first time you've ever seen him in a suit? That it wasn't donated. You don't know that. It could be the first time in that person's life they ever had a suit. Somebody could have given him a suit or a job interview. But you make the guy all clean up, just stepped out of a barber shop, and you figure that person's always just like that. You don't know where that person was last night. Don't make judgment calls. I said all that to say this. It's like we have to be a lot more sensitive to people, their needs, what's going on around us. Just think about what happened up in Boston. You know, listen to all the narratives about the brothers, and it's like nobody knew, at least not yet. But listening to all the relatives in the interviews, it's like it seemed like they were good people, good kids, had their head on straight, doing all the right things. Kids in college, second year med student, life of the party, always had a calm demeanor. They went and checked, it was online Facebook postings. Those people on Facebook. They went back and they said that there was nothing in his Facebook. Had 3 different accounts, and there was nothing in any of those accounts that said that he was a radical, that he hated America or hated people. There was nothing there. And they're trying to find out what made this person do what they did.
What was their religion?
The oldest brother, he was a devout Muslim.
There it is.
Well, let's okay. We'll see. You're prejudging.
No.
So all Muslims are bad, right?
Okay.
And that's what you're
The question
saying.
is this: can you find a good one?
Thank you.
Sure, you can.
Where?
There's lots of them.
You tell him.
Okay.
Because he won't believe me.
I know.
Go ahead.
When I did this study,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that the professor was a Muslim, and he's born again,
Mm-hmm.
and he taught about Islam and what Islam is all about.
No,
And he said
okay. Stop right there. There's a difference between Muslim and Islam.
Okay, let me
Huge difference. People don't know
get
that.
to it.
Go ahead.
There really isn't much of a difference, because if you're a Muslim, you definitely your belief is under Islam. And if you went into the Quran, I had to read the Quran, the whole book. He had to read the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that thing is demonically constructed, it's like literally Satan got his own Bible. And in that Quran, they talk about, we learn the history, we learn how it came, who the person, Muhammad, how he received it, what his intentions are. They have a very deep hatred for Christians and Jews. Anyone who, their mission, because they do convert, they proselytize.
Mhm.
However, their mission, and it's in the Quran, is to, because they believe that the world, when God created the world, like the whole world, He created everyone to be under Islam.
Mhm.
So it's twisted. So they believe that their thing is to convert. People got away from Islam, and they go into Abraham, and because they follow Ishmael, they reject Isaac, so they under Ishmael. So they believe that people have gotten away, the world has gotten away from Allah.
Mhm.
So their mission is to, by any means necessary,
Mhm.
convert the entire world
I've read that.
back to Islam, and they are literally trying to do that. Now they know that here in America we have a whole different set of laws. That's why you see them in the Middle East. They can do however they want to do because they're under Sharia law and it's run under Islam. Everything under Islam runs their government, their military, literally everything. They run their whole life.
Mhm.
Now, if I know for a fact that if we live in a building where there was predominantly everybody from Yemen and the Arabs,
Mhm.
and they stay trying to convert me.
Mhm.
They pass me Qurans. But if you say something against Muhammad, you won't see it. And they are the sweetest people.
Mhm.
They know Stephen. They even was willing to teach Stephen and have him work in the store. But you say something against Muhammad, you see how nice that Muslim's going to be.
Let me ask you a
Now-
question. Do you know anybody who's Baptist?
Now let me wait.
Go ahead.
Now, their thing is, in Islam, if people, for some reason, the West wants to believe that Islam it means peace, and that's not what Islam means. Islam actually means surrender and submission.
Mhm.
And that's what their goal is. And they, like I said, they will kill, they will put out a jihad, they will do anything that they can through means of murder, through means of fear. And it's in the Quran, if you have to use fear. Even in the Quran, it says if you even have to use deception. If you have to deceive people and make them believe that you're nice. That's in the Quran.
I read it.
It's in there.
I read it.
And this is something that these people are literally born into. From the time they push, them kids are indoctrinated with that Quran. Because that is their life.
Let me say something about the Quran. The Quran is no different. I mean, yes, Satan has corrupted, or
No,
not corrupted. There's nothing
It's
corrupt.
been corrupted. It was corrupted from the time Muhammad came out the cave.
Okay, but throughout history, it's not just Muslims. Okay, you could pick almost any religion, and people will come up with something to make themselves to justify a means, said by any means necessary, like you said. Yeah, everything he said was 100% accurate. But when you meet some people that says, you know what, some of those sections of the Quran, they don't follow. Because it says, some people say it's just wrong, but they still say they're Muslim. They said that 9/11 was wrong, that you shouldn't take a life. There's actually plenty of Muslims that I know personally that said that they would never participate in like that, and they condemn the killings and so forth. I mean, as recently as today, known terrorist groups said that we had nothing to do with that. They didn't praise these guys and said, yeah, we can do it, but we applaud the efforts and so forth. No, they didn't say that. Everybody's condemning these bombings, okay? So is it individuals? What is it? I mean, we hide a lot of things under religion. No, this is a man-made thing, okay? We point to a book and we say, we're doing it in the name of this person, that person, the name of Allah, whatever you want to call it. In more modern history, well, not more modern history, but we talk about Muslims, and Muhammad goes back to the year 600 somewhere
Right.
around that time frame. using that exact same argument, what was the reason for the colonization of Africa, the Near East, the Far East, the Turkish Empire in the 1600s, 1700s, the 1400s to the 1700s? That was all done in the name of Christianity. Every last bit of it.
The Ottomans?
Oh no, when they got overthrown.
So,
There have been more wars fought in the name of religion, more death, and more atrocities committed in the name of religion than any other thing there is. It's not that I don't like it. No, my belief system is stronger than your belief system to the point. And yes, Satan uses that, okay, get you indoctrinated to believe something so intensely that it becomes a part of you. You become possessed by it. Like we said, we have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit within us. Well, they have something indwelling within them too. Except it's not the same spirit that's part of us. It can become a very powerful motivator where you can hide behind religion and slaughter tens of thousands of people. Witch hunts in the 1700s, all done in the name of religion, the Puritans, and the Puritans. People fled from England, France, and from the European countries because they were being persecuted, not because they wanted to find the world, they were being persecuted by religious people over there. They weren't Muslims.
the Romans, the Catholics.
The Catholics versus the Protestants. That still goes on today. Lots of things are done in the name of religion.
And why do you think that is?
You answer that question?
I can answer it.
No, I can answer it too.
I can surely
But
answer it.
but you have to qualify an answer based on probably 2,000 to 3,000 years of history, of recorded history. Because it always plays out the same, no matter what. Played out the same when Jesus walked the earth, played out the same in the time of Abraham, when it played out the same throughout biblical history, when the nation of Israel took over kingdoms and destroyed different kingdoms that worship foreign gods and idols. Nothing has changed. So if you go ahead and say
No, I'm just. I mean, I can answer the question. It's just it's
answer the question.
even because I had the same not argument but discussion with one of the guys on my job who's African, and he talked about naturally because he knows I attend church and stuff like that, and he may see me studying something and he'll come by and nagging at me and stuff like that, and he'll say, well, we're a bunch of hypocrites, and he has issues with Christians. And I'll say, well, listen, you find hypocrites outside of those who don't practice religion. You find hypocrites in Islam. You find hypocrites in a whole lot of places.
Exactly.
I said, but my point is that the problem with people is that no one really seems to have. It's like they don't know you really don't know who God is. That's therein is the problem. The problem is just that people just really, you read this, they read it, or they don't really have a good understanding of it. Either they're not being taught it, but it's a lack of something, and it's a lack of knowledge that they just don't know who God is. And this is what I was explaining to him. Sure, there's you find a hypocrite in just about anywhere and everything in any religion. I said, however, like he was talking about naming all the Christians, all the big name Christians who fell, and Jimmy Swaggart and this and that, and that's why I don't deal with the church and this and that and I was like, okay, but what does Jimmy Swaggart have to do with who God is? This is what I asked him, and he couldn't answer. I said, who do you know who God is?
They can never answer because the one thing that escapes everybody is what's the common denominator here between Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Muslims, pick a religion. What's the common denominator?